What's up, Lost Boys? Here we are for another fantasy football recap video. This is week 12, going into Thanksgiving week, week 13. Let's get right into these games, then we'll get into next week's games. We also have a little Thanksgiving food tier list in the middle there, but let's get right started into the games that just happened this week, and we had some really good games. I'm going to start with Josh versus Pat. Josh takes down Pat. Josh had a lot of guys on bye week. This week it looked like Pat had a really good chance. Josh was only projected to score like 90 points most of the day on Sunday. He got a big final 5 minutes from Scary Terry and Jaden Daniels. That helped push him over. Pat's guys couldn't pull him through. He ended up losing by about 18. Quentin Johnson gets him 0. Lamar tried to carry him, but it wasn't enough. Big loss for Pat, kind of knocks him out of the playoff picture. He was trying to make a late run. I don't know if it's going to happen. Next game, speaking of making a late run, Jace wins over Tim, 133-122. Tim tries to make a comeback late, but Jace's team performs well. He's 5-7. He started out so bad. He's now gone 5-2 since then. I don't know if it's enough, but it does keep his slim hopes alive. Tim falls. He's still in 4th place. He's still in the playoff hunt. He's still looking really good, but he's going to need some better performances from his QBs. Brock Purdy being out really does hurt him. Next, we're going to go with the Titty Sucker. Speaking of someone trying to stay in that playoff race, Titty Sucker takes down the machine, Denny. Where did this come from? Cal, 145. Denny, 133. Denny's been rolling. He's the best team in the league. He has the most points in the league. He's still in 1st place. But Cal sucks him dry this week. In general, Cal's guys performed and Denny's guys didn't perform. It looked like Horse Turd Hair was going to maybe push Denny over, but Lad McConkey gets Cal some decent points. Horse Turd Hair had a lot of yards. He didn't have those 2 touchdowns that he's pretty much been getting every single week, and those 2 touchdowns were the difference in the game. Cal takes the upset dub, keeps his playoff hopes alive. Barreto versus Ryan. I think I had this as my game of the week last week because both of these guys were pushing. They were the next guys that were right behind Tim and Josh trying to get into those playoffs. And Justin takes down Ryan in our best game of the week. Not only did this game have the most stakes on it, but it was also our best game of the week. Ryan just couldn't get enough from his QBs. It wasn't a bad week. 21 from Darnold, 16 from Bryce Young, but Barreto with 28 from Mahomes, 20 from Bo Nix. Justin just keeps getting performances from dudes each and every single week. This week was Jordan Addison for 26 points, put him over the edge. Ryan kind of got some duds from some guys that have been performing. Eckler got him 3, had been doing really good. He did get 19 points from Jonnu Smith, which was surprising. He did get good points from Nick Chubb. But a big win from Justin. He's staying in the playoff race. I don't know how he's doing it, but he's doing it. He does it seems to do it almost every single year. So good for Justin. And then last game, our biggest ass whooping of the week, unfortunately, Cass again, 166 to 116. I think the only thing we really want to talk about is Saquon here. Matt has Saquon. He's the best fantasy football player right now. He seems to get 30 points every other week as a running back. As long as he stays healthy, Matt's team is scary. Okay, so that's the recap. Real quick after those matchups, we're going to look at our current standings. Like I said, Denny is still in 1st. He's at 8-4, but there's 3 guys now at 8-4. Josh has won 4 in a row. He's gotten pretty fortunate with opponents not really scoring a lot. Learning Computer is also 8-4. So you have 3 guys at 8-4, but Denny does have the most points. In 4th place, you do have Tim at 7-5. He's the only 7-5 team. He also has a good amount of points. He is significantly higher, about 60 points than the next guy. After that, there is only one 6-6 guy. That is Barreto. He is at 1694 points, so he's about 60 points behind Tim. Not only does he have to catch him in a game, but he also has to pass him in points. So that's going to be really tricky. The 5-7 logjam, I mentioned how Llama, I mentioned how Titty Sucker, and I mentioned how Jace had their slim playoff hopes alive. They're still there. There's 3 games left. They're only technically 2 games out of the playoffs. So if Tim or Josh or any of these guys above fall off the face of the earth, these guys can make a run. And then you have Pat at 4-8, Cass at 4-8. Mathematically, their season's not done if Tim loses the rest of their games and they win the rest of their games and some miracles happen. Mathematically, it's not done, but they're done, which is super unfortunate because Cass, I'm not going to jinx it. Like I said, it's not done. Cass can make a run. He's 1,627 points. Maybe he does make a miracle run. Who knows? Let's get into this week's games, but first we're going to do a quick little Thanksgiving tier list. I rated my top 5 foods from Thanksgiving. I want to hear what you guys have to say. My number 5 food, ham. Best protein of Thanksgiving. I'm sorry, turkey, but that honey smoked ham is the way to go. Number 4, pumpkin pie. I love pumpkin pie. I usually only eat it on Thanksgiving, and I don't know why I don't eat it more. You get some whipped cream on there, it gives me the worst diarrhea, but it's so, so good. Number 3, mashed potatoes and gravy. I know you can make mashed potatoes throughout the year, but for some reason, when you mix it with everything else you get on Thanksgiving, it just tastes that much better. Number 2, stuffing. Once again, only eat it on Thanksgiving. I don't know why people don't eat it as like a regular meal. I mean, stuffing tastes great. I've never made it, so maybe it's hard to make. You cooks in the group, maybe you guys can tell me. But stuffing is awesome. And my number 1 food for Thanksgiving, Aunt Jan's sweet potatoes. They're the bomb. I don't know if some of you guys may have never tried them, but holy crap, they're so good. They're my favorite thing to eat every single year. So that's my top 5 foods for Thanksgiving, guys. Let's get into this week's games because we got some big ones. Our game of the week is our only matchup of playoff teams right now. Josh versus Matt. Huge game. Both 8-4. Both playing well. Both have all their team healthy this week. It's going to be a really interesting game. Both matchups are really, really good. Matt's game's basically going to come down to Thanksgiving. And the reason I say that is because it's Green Bay versus Miami. He has both of his quarterbacks going. They're playing against each other. I really think that's going to decide the game. If Jordan Love and Tua have a monster game, Matt's going to win. If they don't, it's going to be really hard for him to win. We'll see how Josh performs, but he's going to know if he's in a hole after Thanksgiving. Also, I think the winner of this game is basically in the playoffs. So huge game for either one of these guys. Next game, we're going to go with Tim versus Llama. Tim, unfortunate loss last week. Really is looking to make the playoffs. I mean, this is Tim, guys. This is Tim we're talking about. The ICU, the stomping ground of our league, and he might make the playoffs. He can do it. So Tim's trying to get in. He has to beat Ryan, who in my opinion has the worst roster in the league right now. But Ryan's been getting some decent performances from some guys. Can Tim's quarterbacks come through for him? That's going to be the thing. He's starting Drake May. Right now he's starting the Niners QB, whether that be Purdy or Allen. We'll see how that goes. He needs a better performance from Debo, but Tim versus Ryan, it's going to be a really tight game. Next game we're going to go to is going to be Denny versus Pat. Denny's coming off a loss. Pat's also coming off a loss. Pat's guys are back healthy, but even since Christian McCaffrey's come back healthy, he really hasn't been bringing anything to the table. T. Higgins, we'll see if he performs for Pat. Denny, on the other hand, he's got the best team. His team's rolling. Cooper Kupp, A.J. Brown. I mean, I talk about it every week. I think Denny's a lock for the playoffs regardless of what the standings say. Next game, big game for Justin here. Justin got a huge win last week over Ryan. He's still trying to push. He's 1 game behind Tim. He has to win. He plays Cass this week, who's been on the downside. But I still like Cass's team a lot. I still think he has a lot of talent. Now that Baker's back, Andy has Mike Evans. Keep an eye out for Cass this week. It could upset Justin. Now, Justin has been getting great performances from a lot of his guys, so we'll see. I think Mahomes and Kelsey go off this week. They play the Raiders on Friday. They don't like the Raiders. I think it's in Kansas City, I'm pretty sure. But either way, I think Justin gets a huge performance from his Chiefs, so this game's going to be really close. And last but not least, Jace versus Cal. I mentioned how the winner of Josh and Matt is basically locked for the playoffs. The loser of Jace versus Cal, they're out of the playoffs. So this is a de facto playoff game for both of these guys. Cal versus Jace. Both guys are trying to make a miraculous comeback to the playoffs. Cal's team's looking pretty good. Jace has Jalen Hurts. So Amon-Ra, I mean, you look back, Amon-Ra may be one of the best first-round picks of the year. He does seems to do good every single week. So which one of these guys is going to still stay in the playoffs? There's a lot of things that could happen over these last 3 weeks. This is the week, though, with a lot of these matchups. There's going to be people that are completely knocked out. There's going to be people that have locked in their playoff spots. So huge, huge week, guys. I love you guys. Happy Thanksgiving. Go Chiefs, go Bears, go everyone. Have a great time with your families.